This is BucketTalk, a weekly podcast for people who work in the trades and construction that aren't just trying to survive, but have the ambition and desire to thrive. The opportunity in the trades and construction is absolutely ridiculous right now. So if you're hungry, it's time to eat. We discuss what it takes to rise from the bottom to the top with people who are well on their way and roll up their sleeves every single day.
All right, we're here with Rudy Del Bosque. He goes by the Instagram handle Silver Bullet Mullet. Rudy, what's up?
What's going on, brother? Long time no see, man.
You have an interesting background. You're in the trucking game. Absolutely love it. But I kind of wanted to get a little background on how you got into it. I know you and your dad are pretty tight, but I don't know if everybody knows the story. So go back as far as you can. Kind of paint a little picture of young Rudy and how he is the man he is today.
All right, man. Well, my old man started doing this long time ago, man, but he was like 15 years old. I guess if I'm going to go way back, he started loading big trucks when he was like 15, 16 in Aubrey, Texas. And so he's been around dump trucks, in dumps his whole life, and been in dirt work. So, when he finally had me, he would take me to job sites and, put me on the skid steer at like, 7, 8, 9 years old and just, play in the dirt piles and whatnot. And then when I had a little bit more ass in my, britches, I could push down that clutch pedal. He would have me relocate dirt from one end of the job to another. You know what I mean? Then my dad, he started his business. I want to say it was May of 2000, man, before 9/11 actually. And it was pretty gnarly, dude. He started with a 1987 Kenworth T800, tandem only, no trailer, and he was just bobtailing, man, doing single loads. And from there, he's built, slowly at a time, buying a piece here and there, new, not a new truck, but dependable. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it wasn't always what you see, what we have now. What I post, like Drip Daddy and all those nice trucks and stuff. And we come from humble beginnings. My old man, he built it with old equipment, but dependable, and took care of them, and built it up to what we are right now.
Well, it's wild. It's wild. The old equipment is some of the best. It tends to stay around longer from gliders. And the people now using gliders, right? And rebuilding the whole thing with old engines and everything. Absolutely unbelievable. But so dive into it a little bit more. So how'd you come on?
Well, I came on in 2007. Before that, I was doing concrete work, man. I was, one of the, hands out there raking mud, and that shit's no joke out there, dude. So I got a lot of respect for the concrete boys, man, that do it in the summertime. Fuck that. But my dad, so he was starting to expand a little bit more. And originally I was in school to be a coach. I was going to be a football coach, believe it or not. So life happens. I ended up, having a kid early. I was 20 years old when my oldest was born. So I decided, come back home. And I was, like I said, I was doing concrete work for a little bit, and then just called my old man up and said, if there's a spot available for me, I would like to come and haul some dirt, and so he gave me my first chance and my opportunity to come on the scene with him and, get my feet wet with it. But I already knew what I was doing, but I just wasn't out there doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How'd you get your CDL?
Shit. A lot of practice. Just went in one day, got my handbook, man. And dad said, read this shit front to back, boy, because, everything that's in that book is going to be in that test. And I was like, noted. So I went and did that. I spent like 2 months chasing that rabbit. And then finally I was like, all right, I think I'm ready. And then boom, went and took the test and got it all handled out. And the driving test was nothing what it is today, or from what I understand. It was a breeze, man. So it was pretty easy to get my CDL, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's now we've talked about it in past podcasts, but now it's required schooling, and but before it was I mean, some people who weren't around the trucking industry, it was a lot harder, especially when you had to call out things in your walk around or as you're
Hmm.
walking around the truck and pointing to different things. And that was always a huge hurdle for some that, they're good at driving, maybe good at trailering, but not really good on the mechanical aspect. And then on the flip side, um, how many straps per load, what's the stopping distance? I mean, there's a lot to learn in that book.
Right. Well, there is not only that. It's like now, from what I understand, they'll fail you if you don't even pre-trip your truck right. I mean, back when I took my test, man, the only pre-trip we did was check airlines, kick tires, and that was it. And check, for real, it was like that. And now I hear it's pretty strict now. To get the driving part, I hear is the hardest now because you'll fail it by missing one thing you didn't do. Check off your list. So, but
Yeah.
again, I took my shit 15, 16 years ago, so I'm not worried about it now. You know what I mean?
You're bringing in your rig, the Stadi's looking at it, and it's fucking hissing away.
Yeah. But I mean, it's insane. But yeah, back to like what you said about the schooling though. That's the way to go now for everyone. It seems that's what I'm been told is
Yeah.
they're sending kids to schools, man, and get their CDL. But the problem is that I have with all that is once they get their CDLs, they're throwing them out there into it. They're not like really training them for what they're
Yeah.
going to experience out there on the road.
Yeah, they learn most of it in a parking lot or,
Yeah,
short trip, stuff
yeah,
like that. No, I agree.
yeah, man. It's dangerous. I mean, you're going to put some kid out there, or I mean, he doesn't even have to be a kid, an adult that has never done this before, and he's uh, hauling a lot of weight and doesn't know how to see his distance, use his distance in front of him. He wants to run up on a car, doesn't know how to stop, and oh shit, you know, here we go. Trying to double white fist in that damn steering wheel, then you're out in someone's ass. It's not good, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's also good for insurance too. That they go to school now, and that's pretty much all it is. That's what I've been told is that the schooling is to help for the damn insurance and premiums and shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's nice to have a streamlined way of doing things, but I've
Yeah.
said this among company in the past. It's funny how in the trades there's certain trades that have rules and regulations, and then there's other ones that have licensing and what have you, and then there's some that don't have them at all. I mean, what was
Right.
wild about me being a mechanic is we didn't have to get licensed, right? May
Mm,
have to take an OSHA course, may have to do, hydraulics license or CDL or, um, a bus, whatever the school
right.
bus permit was. But yeah, I mean, any Joe could walk off the street and be a mechanic, fix your car. And
Right.
but then you go into the carpentry trade and you got apprentice, journeyman, a whole bunch of different licenses there. Then you got
Right.
electricians, welders, stuff like that, all these certifications. It was
Right.
wild that there's no standardization in the mechanic. I mean, and they had ASEs, but that didn't really that's a private company just saying, "Hey, you take our test, you're good to go." But it wasn't there was no legislation behind it. It's kind of interesting.
Right. And you were a mechanic. Was you a mechanic in the Marines too?
So I was a Marine diesel mechanic in the Coast
Okay.
Guard. So it's
Oh, okay.
a little
Cool.
working on Marine engines in the Coast Guard. So
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
got you. I got
um, yeah, that's what I did. And that we went to school through the military. It was like a 3-month school out of Yorktown, Virginia.
you. Right.
Basic everything. But you had to go through it. And then if you wanted to get work on anything or be qualified in anything, you went to Caterpillar school. I went to
Mm,
Yanmar school.
hell
So yeah,
yeah.
there's a whole bunch of the military did it right. But yeah,
Right. So you know a lot about diesel engines and stuff.
a little bit.
Yeah. Hell
A
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. I know a little bit. I know what my favorite motor. I prefer a 3406 E model cat, but
Yeah.
now with the new shit, it's either a Packard or X15 Cummins, man, and it is what it is. I just don't like them. I don't know enough about them
Hmm.
because I'm only a year and a half, 2 years with the X15 learning it, because
Mm-hmm.
the 3406, I mean, I could just hear my truck, hell, feel it, and know there's something off, an injector's out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or most people don't even know what the hell they're listening for, and that power loss. I'm like, no. You hear that little
Yeah.
that tick, flutter, that injector somewhere. We're gonna find it. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
It's it was interesting, like being a mechanic, and same probably for you being a truck driver is you know, you always wonder how the old dogs did it. They're like, how do you know something's wrong? Or like, how do you know this? Like just a plethora of information. And now we're starting to become those people where the
yeah,
people are like, how do you know that? And I'm like, I just hear it. It was funny. I had my Tahoe. I in between houses right now, so I actually can't work on a vehicle in my driveway. So it was funny because I had a wheel bearing start to go, and so you could hear that little
mm,
hum every time you took the
mm, yep,
turn. And I'm in the car with my family. I'm like, "You hear that?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "I know." Like I could feel it,
yeah,
I could hear it. I brought it to the mechanic. I was like, "Hey, uh, left front wheel bearing. There's something wrong with it." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, buddy," because he didn't know
yeah,
I'm a mechanic. I won't say it to him because I don't. I never really liked when people came in and said, "Hey, my cousin's a mechanic, or I'm a mechanic. This is what's wrong with it." Well, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to figure it out myself. I'm not going to listen to what
right,
somebody else. So I never
exactly,
say it. And he's like, "It's fine. It's tight. I didn't hear anything." I'm like, "You didn't hear anything?" I'm like, "Shit." So sure enough, like 2 months later, it just got louder and louder and louder and
yeah,
louder. And I'm like, "All right, now." It was dying
man.
laughing.
There's some guys like that. I mean, that's in the big truck industry too, man. Sometimes, not all of them, but sometimes you
Yeah.
might find one that'll kind of, I wouldn't say shortcut it, but you tell them what you hear, and you're like, nah, no, I'm telling you what it is, and then all of a sudden it's too late. You're gonna have to take it back to the shop because what you originally said it was ends up happening. You know, your fucking fan clutch goes out. You're like, your fan clutch is going out, and they're like, nah, it ain't it. It was a fucking airline or some shit. You're hearing things like, oh, okay, but
Well, I always knew why that happened too, is because unless they were 100%, a lot of guys, and this is what sucks about the industry, is they get so much shit when it comes to being wrong every now and again. Customer comes in bullshit about spending X amount of money on
mm,
a wrong diagnosis or what have you.
right,
So a lot of guys won't pull the trigger, even if they're like, "Oh, it sounds like it, but I can't really prove it." You know what I mean? And they're
right,
like, "Fuck it, I'd rather just say I can't hear it, send it on its way, and then when it gets worse, come back, and then
right,
we'll definitely be able to figure it out." So it's kind of like I understand why it happens because they don't want to put their reputation out on the line to say,
right.
"You're right, it was the left front," and really it was the right front. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, I understand that too. It's like, for me, it's like I can go, no, I know for sure what it is, but I've been wrong, man. And where my
Been
old
wrong
man,
plenty of times.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And my old man be like, I told you it wasn't that shit. You want to be all hard headed and say it was that, goddamn it. I'm like, okay, that's shit. But
Yep.
but yeah, man.
But so okay, fast forward, you get your CDL.
Mhm.
You're now working for Pops.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
what are you just hauling sand and gravel? Are
Yeah,
you day
yeah,
tripping?
yeah.
Okay.
So I go straight into I'm just hauling single load. So I was just in a tandem. I was in a 98 Kenworth T800, and
Mm-hmm.
man, I was pretty much, he kept me kind of local, and then and then it's funny, I say he kind of kept me local for 2 days, and on the third day he let me go out there for real, and then this is back whenever it was only Mapsco. You remember the Mapscos?
No.
You don't remember? Okay, so before we had GPS and Garmin, I mean, we didn't have a Garmin in our trucks, but before we had our phones that had GPS's maps, Google
Yep.
Maps, we
Yep.
had a thing called Mapscos. It's kind of like the Atlas, you know what I mean? I can't remember
Yeah.
what they're called.
Are you talking about like binder books with fucking
Yeah.
maps in it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, we had road maps. I mean, I remember the day fucking map questing thing had like 1,000 fucking turns.
Right. So we had MapQuest for every county in our area, and I mean, they were seriously like thick ass textbooks, is what they look like.
Yeah.
And one day, so I was going to Carrollton one day, this town about 45 minutes away, man, and I couldn't find my fucking way out of it, dude. Like seriously, and I got so frustrated. That day, I felt like quitting because I spent what should have been a 45-minute drop. It took me, this is no lies, like 4 hours to find. Because I turned my phone off, got frustrated, and turned off my two-way radio, everything. And I remember getting home, and or back when we parked, and my dad looked at me and told me to breathe, like calm down. He said, "Boy, it's gonna be okay. Sometimes you're gonna have to listen to these old people. You know, the guys that know where they're going. They'll tell you how to get there."
Yeah.
He's like, "Till then, you need to just breathe, relax." He goes, then he hands me a beer. And he laughs and he goes, "Boy, you couldn't fuck your way out of a wet paper sack." That's what he told me. Yeah. So that was my introduction, man. And over time, I obviously got better with it. You know, I mean, I didn't blaze the roads, and I wasn't some badass at it. You know, it just takes time, effort, and just listen to these OGs of sand haul and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool that your dad was level headed. Gave you a little bit of shit, but can see that the biggest beating you took was not going to come from him. It came from your experience. So it's cool when they finally side with you a little bit and they're like, you know what, I can't be hard on you because you're harder on yourself than I could ever be.
Yeah, and that's the truth though. It's like that's how I've always been because I was like a perfectionist, and I'm watching him and my cousin Andrew. We call him Buzz. He's been with my dad for 20 years. He's like an older brother to me. He's like 52 years old. So I'm watching these guys effortlessly, just going and running circles around me, and I'm sitting here struggling. I can't even put 4 rounds on the ground. And they're over here are doing 10, 11, and I'm like, what the shit? But he was hard on me. Don't get that twisted. Like he was like foot to ass, and I mean we butted heads. You know that saying, "It's hard to work for family." No shit. Yeah, that's a truth, dude. So hard, in fact, that my cousin had to tell my dad, like, "Hey, let me handle boy." That's what they call me, boy.
Yeah.
Let me handle boy, and because you getting hot and yelling at him, and he gets hot and yells back, and y'all both ain't getting shit done and accomplished. Y'all are just yelling at each other.
That good cop, bad cop shit. No, it's fucking
Yeah.
it's fucking hysterical. Up at the farm, me and my dad got into, I don't even know. He pulled the fence post and he didn't ask to pull the fence post, and I gave him a ration of shit, and then it was just like we weren't talking to each other. It was over a fucking fence post.
Yeah, no, man, I same, dude. Like I've been there, with my dad. My dad just turned 60 last week, and I'll be 37 in February, and I'm thinking out of the 15 years, I probably went through 5 years of some real ass chewings, and I mean face to face like blowouts with my dad. But at the end of the day, I understood where he's coming from, because I mean he just wanted me to hold a standard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I mean where we're from out here, man, every sand hauling business over here, it's family run and owned.
Yeah.
Well, for the most part, we're family run and owned. We have one outsider, and he's like family. We've known him for 20 years, Marky Mark, but everyone else, it's generations of their family. Like started a trucking business in the 70s, and their kids have either branched off and started their own thing, or they continue to carry on their name. You know what I mean? So that's where we're from. Everything is like that. So and I understand the you don't get this far in your business last 30 plus years, some of these guys buy bullshit, you're like this because you hold a standard, and there's pride in there that you take whenever you go take your truck out there and you say you're going to get shit done, you get shit done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So
with you and your dad, is this going to be a family affair? Yeah, I know you got some young ones. Is this going to continue on to generations to come, or you don't want this for them?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. My dad and I, we've had this conversation before. So I got a little brother that works with us now. He's been here for 2 years. So he doesn't quite got a seat at the table yet. You know what I mean? He's still
Yep.
got a long ways to learn and all that shit. But little
Yep.
brother, big brother, we butt heads when it comes to stuff like that sometimes. But I've learned to shut that down and just kind of, hey, let him find his way. If he's in it, he's in it. If he's not, he's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
but I've told my old man before that I feel like this is either gonna die with me or my youngest, son or my oldest son, they might be interested in, and if they are, I'll give them the fair shake that my old man gave me and my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but I also know, like, I'm a very loyal person, and I know there's tiers to this shit. You know what I mean? Like the old man, he's the boss man. That the guy below that is my cousin Buzz, who's been there since 2001, 2002.
Yep.
But even my cousin, and then it's me at 15 years, and then Mark, and then my brother. But my cousin Buzz has told me, he's like, hey man, I may have been here this long, but at the end of the day, that last name on that truck, that's your last name. That's not mine.
Yeah.
That's your namesake. So, run it like you own it, and that's how I've been carrying myself for since I guess you want to call it the probation period or getting the hazing period, then I do. I run it like that. I take pride in what I do, and it's not easy, doing that shit. But it is cool though. Waking up every morning to say I'm doing this, and people point and look, and they go, "Oh, I know that truck. That's Del Bosque truck right there." Because the way we keep the shit.
Now, do you? I've been asking this question recently. Do you see? So the industry as it stands right now, you're cool with. You're making money. If it stays the way it is, you can see your family making a living for their kids. But with everything changing, whether it's electric cars, whether it's autonomous vehicles, whether it's just the need for the product you're hauling, or the workforce being there, do you see the writing on the writing on the wall? I don't know if it's the writing on the wall because I have no idea. But do you see that the signals out there that things are changing, or is everything business as usual, like full speed ahead? I'm just making money.
Well, I mean, it is business as usual, but we definitely see this this change, man. And you know, I heard y'all's podcast with Iron Mike. He said he nailed it. Like you can't find drivers that want to work. One,
Right.
and you can't. It's just like we're the last of a dying breed, man. I mean, it really is. The guys that have been doing it so long, they're all getting older, and they're fading out. There's not many people that are stepping up and doing, in the trucking industry, whether that's cattle hauling, heavy equipment hauling, sand and
Fucking
gravel
bull
hauling.
haulers.
Yeah, dude, well, that motherfuckers are bad, boy. Shit. I ain't messing with none of them, dude. I'll just say, sir, and walk going about my business. I mean, I'll be
They got
serious.
exemptions to laws, and if you
But
got exemption to laws, you know you a bad mamma jamma.
yeah, they're the real deal, boy. I tell you what, man. Some of them are like, they'll sit there and look at your ass, and if you look at them wrong, they'll be like, boy, we either fighting or fucking if I'm taking my shirt off, and I'm married, so this narrows that shit down to one thing: we're fighting. Yeah. But anyways, but no, it's like I see. It's hard to find drivers, man. It's hard to it's just right now we're in this crazy little bubble because we have so much growth and building right now in the DFW area where we're at. I mean, it's crazy right now. Everyone's busy, but there's going to come a point where that comes to a stop.
Yeah.
Because from what I was told in late 70s or early 80s, it happened once. My dad told me that construction stopped. I mean, it was a boom and then it stopped. And he's like, I can see that happening again. And the way it looks right now, we have this big boom right now. And in our area, it's crazy because like all this land is getting developed. I mean, what else are you going to develop after this? You know what I mean? So maybe we'll see it in my lifetime over here. I hope it lasts another 20, 30 years. But man, it just seems like it is kind of heading into a different direction, man. I mean, look at what they're doing with Peterbilt right now. They're getting rid of the 389. I don't know if you pay attention to what Peterbilt and stuff like that. So they're introducing the 359 already, and it looks like dog shit. But they're going to this like new era, and you see it. You go, this looks like some space age shit because it looks like a dump truck that should be in the damn out there in the freaking space, dude. Big
Yeah,
ass
International was doing it for a while there.
weird,
Yeah, weird looking trucks.
dude. Yes.
I like
So
the
like
long nose square. Let's go.
yes, yes. So that 389, that's the end of it. This year they stopped production. They're taking orders right now for the 359, and they're going in production in 2024. So there is no more the traditional split window look,
Yeah.
windshield, Peterbilt. That's it, and I'm seeing it, and I'm kind of like, man, it's before too long, man. I don't know. Maybe my 50s, maybe when I hit 60, we're gonna see something different than a trucker. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting because, and I've actually never talked about this, but it was funny how if you look at transportation and how we hauled goods over the course of the United States history, it's weird that we ever gave up our railroads. I mean,
right,
it's like we had railroads, then we went to autonomy, so everybody had their own vehicle, and we're like, fuck railroads. And now we're like, everybody needs to take mass transportation and all this stuff. And it was like, well, maybe we shouldn't have got rid of the railroads. And
right,
everyone's now a fucking bike path. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't know. It feels to me like, with hauling freight and moving people across the country, maybe railroads was a bad thing to get rid of. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I didn't really think about it like that, but you're right. And then now I started thinking about how do you get rid of truckers when truckers are the soul of everything in America. If you think about it, from hauling produce, your clothes, the hat that you and I are wearing right now, to get
Yep.
you think that some magic little fairy came and gave me my Brunt boots? No, it was a trucker that freighted that shit in.
What? Maybe not the Brunt. Maybe something else. It was a magical little fairy.
Yeah. Oh no, there's some magic in there. Shit, yeah. That's why I got my fucking boots. I'm about to stomp some shit. But anyways, but you know what I'm saying? It's like truckers.
Yeah.
You got to have them. You got to need them. But but like I said, it's harder. They're harder and harder to find. And I hope that doesn't end, because man, without that, dude, what happens with America? You know what I mean? Because it's everything. Truckers for everything. Your groceries, your material, build your house, your lumber packages, everything. Every one of those guys are so valuable and important. all of even the fucking guys that, I don't even want to say I'm joking when I say this. Swift, they might have some shit. They might have some shit in their trailers that you might need, but I mean, they can't drive for shit. But it is what it is, man.
What large company uses Swift? Because I mean, I see them, but I don't see them docking anywhere. Maybe they don't make it to the destination. I don't know.
I think Walmart distribution centers. I think I've seen
they
them.
use them.
Yeah, I think some distribution centers, but even then, man, I mean, whew, I've seen some crazy shit in my time, dude, with some Swift guys. I've seen a lot of crazy shit in general, just being a sand hauler. I've seen some wild stuff, dude. I've seen people
I was dying laughing with that when that truck driver ripped the rear axles off that trailer on that.
and kept driving the Swift truck. Yeah,
I was dying,
bro. Hey, you know what though? It's like that guy. What is it? It's not going to cost him anything. You know what I mean?
No, and the best part is it didn't ruin the truck. It only ruined the trailer. Who gives a shit about the trailer, I guess?
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, when I see that, it's funny because that applies. There's those kind of drivers in our business. I'm sure for heavy haulers too, like that's never done it before. And They don't give a shit. They're just there to punch a clock, get their check. We call those guys cab maggots. They're just steering wheel holders. They don't care about anything, not paying attention to anything, and they tear more shit up because it doesn't bother them. But the guy that owns a company, man, Jesus, dude, how much money can one, spend on fixing shit of a driver that doesn't care? You know?
Yeah. I mean, that in that particular circumstance, that's an easy one. That trailer's totaled and insurance checks. See you later. So I guess, I don't know. I mean, and it's a product of their own environment. From a lot of the truckers that I've heard from dispatchers pushing the limits, companies pushing the limits, drove a lot of the real passionate people out. Kept a lot of people, whether it's wages, whether it's insurance, whether, it's medical and dental and all that stuff, kept a lot of good people from coming in because the money and stuff wasn't there during, especially when we were growing up. Like, being a truck driver wasn't lucrative business only until recently. Truck drivers are starting to get their weight in salt. And
No, right.
So, I kind of drove a generation of potential good candidates away, and now they're left to deal with what they got. I mean, I see all around Portland, Maine and stuff, they $40-$50 an hour for truck drivers, and they're still not getting it. It's like, it's wild. Now money's not an issue. Like, people aren't going because of the money. People are going because of the, they want to do something different. They want to be a long haul trucker or what have you. But it's just, I think they ran a lot of people out before they even realized they ran people out.
Yeah, man, I think you're right there too. It's like, especially those long, over the road truckers, those long haulers, man. And I mean, kudos to those guys, what they do. I mean, praise to them, because I couldn't do it. I want to be home every night. I want to see my kids. I want to see my wife. I mean, granted that being in a family owned business like this, we are our own mechanics too, man. Like, there's times where my wife and kids, even though the shop is right down the road, like, I mean, the driveway, they haven't seen me in 2 days because once I get in, I got to work on something, work on a trailer, work on someone else's truck. And my wife knows that stuff. She's a trooper. Your kids, but when they don't understand, you know what I mean? They're too young. All they know is, I haven't seen Daddy in 2 days, and when we see him on day 3, we're gonna go get some ice cream because he must have been down there at the shop working the last 2 days. So, but that's the only thing. The sacrifice of time, man. I think it's every truck driver in America that you're sacrificing one thing, and it's time. If you have a family, they're the ones that have to suffer from that. The over the road guys are like 2 weeks at a time. Sometimes they're like, 1 week, 2 weeks on. I mean, it's tough.
You know what's crazy about, what resonated with your last statement is a lot of us, that's a father's mentality. A lot of us think that way, that that time's ticking away. But we always have that mentality that we got to constantly tell ourselves we're doing this for the livelihood of our family. And because I was the same way, man. It was gone all the time, working Saturdays. I was gone before the sun came up, and I was back when the sun came down. And you get maybe an hour with your kids, and usually they're fucking cranky as shit. And then all of a sudden you're the dad that's yelling at them because you caught them at the tail end.
You're nailing it, man. Preach it,
dude. One of the things that kept me sane through all that is just saying, like, I'm the provider. I'm the one that, they may hate me until I'm 50 and I'm retired, or 60 and I'm retired, but I know I'm putting the food on the table and everything. So that's like the blue collar men and women. That's what keeps them going, is like, so
man. We both, I'm sure your old man was the same way. It's like, you watched your old man do
the
same
prick.
thing. So, see what I'm saying? Like, look, I love my dad, but my dad,
I do
honestly,
too.
he's Rudy Senior. Like, he's an asshole. Like, he was.
Yeah.
But our relationship now, I would say in the last 8 years, we'll say 8 years, has been
Yep.
supreme. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's a crazy shit. And he sees me now as, okay, I've done my job, and it's here's a seat at the table, son. Now your word matters and stuff like that. Which, forever I was like chasing that.
Now they're asking you, and now you feel. I don't know. Now it's they're putting the pressure on you again because you're like, well, shit. I thought you always had the answer. Now you're coming to me for the answer.
Yeah,
So
dude.
no.
Sometimes it's like that. It's hard to. It is. I'm still looking at him like, motherfucker, you got the answer. Like, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah.
Shit.
No, but it's funny because I tell stories of me and my dad growing up, and it's funny because I haven't told this story. This is how you know you made it, right? So my dad used to fucking make me mow the lawn all the fucking time. He's like, that's why I had kids, so that you could mow the lawn, so that I didn't have to. And I was never the top bar on the lawnmower. I was the first bar because I was so short at the time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
you
I
know
got
what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know what
And
you're
I'm
saying.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like this, right?
Fucking ape hanger for a push mower and shit. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm out there, and there's some boys out there that God bless them, but I had maybe an acre. No,
That's still a
maybe
lot.
like a half acre, right? And,
Yeah.
and I'm doing it with push mower, and I had to do it every week, and you trim the bushes and all with not one of them like actual hand shears, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And so my dad comes and lives with me on the farm. I'm 37 now. He comes lives with me on the farm, and he's now mowing my lawn. And I'm
What?
like, yeah. And he
On a
keeps
zero turn or a push mower,
dude, push mower. He's been through 3 in the past 2 years. He
Shut
fucking
up.
dude. But it's funny because he approached me the other day. He's like, hey, we need to get one of them riding lawnmowers. I was like,
Hell yeah.
I felt like an asshole, but I'm like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see how long. And what's crazy is like I'm, not elder abuse or anything. Me and my dad are super tight. If he ever needed something like that, I would. But it's funny because he even says he's in the best shape of his life now in his 60s than he's ever been, and it's
How old is your dad?
I don't fucking know. He's 65, 66, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah. Yeah. My dad just turned 60. He looks fucking 70, but he's 60.
yeah. I mean,
Dude, my dad was a party motherfucker, dude. Seriously. Like, I've
yeah.
heard stories like crazy about him back in the day. And the one thing they go, one thing about Rudy Sr. is like, we've never seen him fight. And I was like, oh, because he didn't want to get involved. They go, no, because no one wanted to fuck with him because of the way he looked. Yeah.
Well, and they were a different breed, man. I mean, I still look up to those guys. Those guys jumped off over nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
now
bro.
I'm like, hey, I don't know. Like, is it really
Yeah.
worth
No, I
doing
ain't
this?
fighting. No. I'm not fighting unless it's an absolute must. And I'm like, dude, fuck you, dude. Like, look, I get winded getting a blowjob, bro. You think I'm going to go fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
No,
not. No.
and those guys used to jump off over a fucking parking spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not popping off over some dumb shit. Like, I just look at it like, one, he's probably got a gun. That's cool, man, because I
Oh
got one
yeah.
too, and I don't think I'm fucking using it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not fucking. Hey, have that front parking spot, Bubba. I'm going over here. You know, I'm too. Nah, dude.
Yeah.
Those days are over, man.
Those days are long gone. And I don't even know if. I mean, those are some good days too, because I felt like a lot of that stuff was just settled then and there, and then it was like, I mean, if you've ever really been into if you've ever really been in a fight and it hasn't been broken up in 5 minutes, the two of you are shaking hands or hugging by the end because you guys are just like,
bro.
God
So
damn.
I don't know how it was where y'all are from. Like over here in Texas, same thing is like we're fighting. Hey, You're not jumping in. You're not jumping in. This is my boy. This is your boy.
Right.
Like, we're letting it go down. When it was all said and done, yeah, you're shaking. Whoever got their ass whooped, you're either quitting because you got your ass whooped, but all right, my ass is whooped, or you're tired. We shake hands and we crack a beer open. And I'm gonna tell you something, dude. Almost 9 times out of 10, you might become fucking best friends after that. Like you know. And I've had stories like that. I got my ass whooped so bad, dude. This is 2009 or something like that. And this guy, I mean, I was just drunk, stupid, skinny punk. And he whooped the dog shit out of me. And I remember he went to hit me again. And I go, all right, it's fucking hurting, motherfucker. And he started laughing. He goes, God damn it. Like, get up. We shake hands. We have a beer. He goes, man, I didn't expect you to stick in there like that. Cause, you know, he's like, I'm big. He was a big boy. And I was like, hey, man, I'm no bitch. Cause if I backed down from that, it would have got back to my old man. And my old man would have been like, so you want to be a bitch. Okay. You know, it would have been like that. So
my last one was not anything to hang my hat on. I've been in some good ones, but my last one, I got hit so fucking hard in the mouth, split my lip open. I took my tongue and put it in my lip, and I was like, fuck, because I couldn't see it. I'm like, fuck, that thing's. I walked away.
You put your tongue through your lip?
No, so I had such a gash in my lip that when I put my tongue up to it, it was like, it was just completely split apart. I was like, fuck. And I'm just pouring blood out. And I'm like, I'm gone. I'm going to the hospital. I'm just going to go get stitched up. And it was funny because I just walked away from this fight. And it ended up, it carried on without me. And I was just like, see you later.
Yeah. Dude, I think my record's probably like 1 in 10. Like, no bullshit. I got lucky on one of them because he was shit faced. I mean, I said, fuck fighting, dude. I mean, if it has to happen, we're doing it. You know, like,
yep. If
our boys are getting, I mean, all right, do it. But, man, I do 2 things. I tell my friends now that I'm older. I said, if there's some confrontation with some young buck, some 22-year-old kid, or 25, whatever, in their 20s, I look at their ears first. And they go, why do you look at their ears?
Oh,
I go, if that shit looks like cauliflower, bitch, we ain't got to eat it. Okay, trust me. They're going to pretzel us up and fucking do what they want with us, okay? We're not doing it.
Yeah.
Second, I'm just looking to see what they got on them, because if I don't have anything on me, I ain't getting got today. Fuck you, dude. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let this be. I am a bitch. I'm walking away because I ain't getting killed today. You know?
No, I hear you. Wow, we went on a tangent here, huh?
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
It's all about trucking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, back on trucking.
Hey, it was funny. I didn't get to jump in earlier, but you know, I caught and poor girl. I feel bad for her. She got into a car accident, but I was watching South Carolina or Georgia. This tow truck had it ramped down, right? And the girl launched her car right over and went 100 feet. And she ended up living, so that's why I was.
Oh my god! I think I seen that.
So if you go to the comment section now, that specific instance is like, you know, sorry that happened, everything like that. But if you go to the comment section, I was dying laughing because it was like every guy said, "All right, that's why I never actually did that," because every fucking guy that drove past anything with its ramp down is like, Fast and Furious, I'm gonna fucking send it. And she did. I mean, she did it exactly the way I wanted to do it too.
I seen the video. I bet before she hit, do you think she said family and then hit it? You know what I mean? Like Vin Diesel.
So that was bringing in my next point is like, we were talking about long haul truckers and like how, you know, they're always away from home and everything. But what guy who knows about trucking hasn't wanted to at least spend one night in a fucking sleeper cab and just get away from it all like it's a fucking camper?
If you haven't, do it, man. It's different. It's fun, man. I think it's fun. It's just like when you're a kid, man, like going out there in that shitty ass camper, dude. Well, I'm speaking on an experience from right now. I had these
fucking pop-up tent.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The fucking what are they called? You know what I'm talking about? The pop-up.
Were they Coleman's or I don't even fucking know.
Yeah,
but they were pop-ups.
Yeah. So these fucking shitty ass pop up tents. It reminds you when you're a kid. Like a kid, I say kid. Like you remember? Okay, you remember back in the day because we're the same age when you had that one buddy that found a Playboy. And it was like, oh, I got a Playboy. We got a pop up fucking tent and shit. Like, this is a shitty ass Playboy from like the 80s, you know? It's got mildew on it and shit. Yeah. Well, the camper or the sleeper is not like that. I'm saying it's different. But, yeah.
No, it was funny because I mean, we grew up on, like, when we were coming up high school and shit, we had Orange County Choppers. They started doing all the build stuff, but they also did builds with tractor trailers. I forget what the show was, but they used to build out, like, pimp out the sleeper cab and
Chrome
everything
Shop
like
Mafia.
that. Was that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah. No, for real. Chrome Shop Mafia. They're in Texas.
Oh.
No, Missouri. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, man, it'd be fucking sick. But I mean, you're looking at it from like, yeah, it'd be sick to fucking just like cruise the world and sleep in that thing. But then you realize you actually got a job and you got to meet timelines and stuff too.
Yeah. Logbooks and shit, man. I'm so glad we don't have logbooks, man. I've had a state trooper one time pull me. This has been a long time ago. I'm Officer. I'll use his name. I'm Officer Landeros. I need your logbook. The first time I got pulled over by this guy a long time ago, and he goes, "I need to see your logbook." I said, "I don't need a logbook. You're driving a big truck." I said, "I mean, unless I'm hauling tomatoes and fucking bananas in this bitch and going to California or something, I don't need a logbook." He's like, "You don't need a logbook, huh? All right, let's check out your truck." I was like, "Let's check it out then." Shit, I don't know what I'm being a smart ass at this point because I've never knew that I needed a logbook, and I didn't. And came back. He was just testing me because I was a young kid. I mean, I was a young prick, really, at that time. And long story short, his son now is a state trooper over here in Texas. So now they're still at it. And when his son pulled me over about 2 months ago, I looked at him. I said, "You gonna ask me for my logbook?" And he's like, looked at me confused. You don't need a logbook. I said, "Yeah, your dad fucking thought I need one."
This is some family history. Y'all, you need to get fucking versed in this.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, again, man, hats off to all those guys that do that cross the country shit, bro. Like, they can be up there where you're at, come bringing some, clam chowder or whatever. It's like smoking the band.
Yeah, that's exactly what we hauling up here. Just fucking clam chowder. We just exporting the fuck out of that.
Crab legs and shit. Where are y'all at exactly?
I'm up in Maine. So we're in Brunt's out of Massachusetts, but I live up in Maine. So we're exporting lobster, I guess.
Where about in Maine are you?
Southern Maine. So I'm like the Portland, Maine area.
Okay. Funny, you're gonna laugh at this. So our neighbor is in the sand and gravel business too. And
yeah, you were telling me about this, and he's up north. He's up north. Yeah.
Northern Maine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Tom, shout out Tom Meadows. So hope this finds you, dog. Hope you're doing good, old man.
There you go.
But yeah, his operation's right next door to his USA Trucking. They're cool, man. Every one of them, good people. So we help each other out and stuff like that. There's a few of us that help each other out, but not everyone does, man. It's kind of stupid, but some of us are cool.
Well, it was funny. It was funny. It depends on what sector you're in within the trucking community. I mean, Iron Mike was talking about some, them excavation equipment guys, them low bed drivers. Yeah. They're a cutthroat breed over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
no, dead on, bro. Like what you're talking about, y'all's show. When he was saying it, I said, "Damn, we have it here too, man. We do. We have it here." It's kind of it's sad because it's been happening for generations, man. I mean, before my dad was even running his company, and before that, when he was loading trucks, he told me, he's like, there's people out here that cut throats, and they may do it for cheaper, but sometimes cheaper ain't fucking better. He's like, they promise quantity, but they lack in quality.
But some of the sand and gravel and aggregate haulers, what's funny about them is like, it's volume. They actually get. Yeah. They're doing a school up near us in Massachusetts. Literally, they're blasting acres and acres, and they can't get enough trucks up there. So there's no fucking competition. There's hundreds of trucks waiting to get loaded up. And it's like, so for them, it's like, unfortunate. And I'm sure there's probably certain circumstances where there is competition, but theirs is just volume. How many fucking trucks can we get up here? And how many loads can we get out? Where other areas are like, I need to protect my market. I need to protect what I do.
Right.
And so,
Right. See, that's what I don't understand. Like with us, we say it all the time. There is plenty of work for everyone. Even the newbies, the new guys that come on the scene. Like they're not a threat. I mean, how can they be a threat when you've been doing business with the same people for fucking forever? They might come and say, "Hey, I'll do it for cheaper," but no one's gonna go and take that cheaper shit because they don't have a day-to-day basis with them. They don't have that trust with them. You know what I mean?
That customer that usually takes that cheaper shit is usually going to be the customer you don't want anyway.
Exactly. Because we got loyal customers, man. We've had for a long time, man.
Yep.
And our customers, we know on a personal level, as far as their superintendents and stuff like that. They're not superintendents. They're like, "Hey, what's up, dog?" They call like not even about business, seeing how you're doing. And that's the kind of relationships we built with every one of our customers, and they know they can call, Buzz, which is he also does our dispatch, and he hauls dirt too, my cousin, and then they can call my dad if he ever answers his damn phone. They call me just to shoot the shit, and they call me Silver Bullet. What the fuck you doing, Bubba? It's just that's the relationship you have, and then when it becomes business, it's a business tone. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we separate the friendship from business. Now we're talking business. So it's all good.
You're on point. Because actually, I was privy to a conversation between my wife and her hay broker, and it was one of the most refreshing conversations I've heard to date. So, if you don't know, we've had so much rain up north that the hay crops have grown, but they can't bale them because it's so wet. So what ended up happening was a lot of hay crops have gone to shit. So we actually get our hay from Canada, and it gets trucked down. So it's a trucking company that also deals in hay. And so my wife pays on time. She pays a little bit more than what she should. She's not out here cutting deals or whatever. She wants consistency and reliability. So
Right.
she pays that premium. So she called him up and said, "Hey," no, jokes aside, she said, "Hey, I need hay." And
holy shit, I just got it.
it's a tractor trailer load, so 750 bales, a full container packed in. And the guy goes, you buy from us 6 times a year. I set your load aside. I'm getting your other load baled up now, so that when you call me in a month and a half, 2 months, it'll be ready. He goes, "It's all the same price, but you wouldn't believe the people that are calling me right now for hay and the amount of money they're waving in my face for your load." And he goes, "There you go." And usually I've had those conversations, and usually they're asking for like a attaboy and like maybe some more money, or but it was it was an honest conversation. Like they were just having a conversation like, "Hey, a lot of people are coming up here looking for hay, and thanks for being my customer." And it was wild.
Dude, that brings me to this point with that. It's like, so y'all been doing business together for a minute, and that guy could have easily said, "You know what, I'm going to go ahead and sell it to this somebody."
Yeah.
And that person could have been like, "I'll use you from here on out. Just tell them whatever so they can get that load."
Nope.
And to that, we have this saying, dude. It goes like this: "Hey, a new broom sweeps good." And everyone goes, "New broom sweeps good. A new broom sweeps good." When it gets worn out, they ain't gonna come back. It ain't gonna work. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's how it works. We see that all the time out here, man. In this in our business, some people, we hear these stories. They went with someone cheaper or whatever. I'm like, okay, hey, that's fine. New broom sweeps good. I'm like, I don't know what you mean. All right, you'll know. You'll find out pretty soon.
Yeah. So, well, I think we summed up the trucking industry again. I do want to ask you a question before we wrap up this podcast. What the fuck do you do on your off time?
Well, funny you ask. I mean, it's pretty much just this, man. Hanging out, grab a silver bullet, talking to someone that, share some kind of same things that we deal with on a day-to-day grind, and just conversations, man. I enjoy talking to people, dude. I love it. You don't have to be blue collar, fucking, you don't have to be a trucker. You don't have to, you can be a teacher. I don't care. I mean, just shoot the shit. But if I have to be honest, Sundays, man, every Sunday, I take my rig to the shop, wash, wax, polish it, and it's work. It's like a 6-7 hour gig, but I do it because when I go to work on Monday and I see somebody that I have never met before, and they run into me and they go, "That's a beautiful rig. That's the best looking rig I've seen in a long time." I do that, and that makes me feel good. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting about what you do on Sundays is I fucking hate it. I cannot stand polishing fuel tanks, steps, you name it, rims, doesn't matter. But you're onto something, and a lot of truckers know this, is I've had to do it after a season. And I'd rather maintain it. I'd rather maintain it and get into that weekly cadence than have to fucking spend 20 hours on a fucking rim hand polishing it. Now, I've done it. I've done a podcast with a metal polisher, and they got the tools to do it, but I did not have the tools.
Right. No, you ain't lying, dude. It does suck. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I maintain mine. I definitely do. I polish mine out with rouge bars, like at least twice a month. Everything else is by hand. It's a must that I wax my truck because I gotta have it. It has to look good. I can't have water spots in it. Inside, I detail it. I mean, it's just what I do, man. Because when you look at a truck coming up on a job site and you see it looking good, shiny, polished, all that tells you that person or whoever that company is, they give a fuck about what they do. They care.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, pride, And again, I share that last name. My dad started this business, but I'm here to continue it and do it justice. You know what I mean? Because one day it will be mine.
Yep. Now, I murdered the last name is not Del Bosque. Explain to our viewers what it actually sounds like.
Okay. It actually sounds like Del Bosque. So it's, Del Bosque. But over here in Auburn, America, and Tioga, Texas, it's Del Bosque because we're country as shit. So
we're just going to murder the last name. So if anybody wants to follow Rudy or wants to ask him any questions or wherever, Rudy, tell everybody where you're from and where they can find you.
All right. Well, I'm from North Texas, Texoma region. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Silver Bullet Mullet 69. Facebook, just Rudy Del Bosque Jr. if you want to get on there. Just hit me up, ask me any questions you want, and shit, that's about it, Bubba.
All right, my man. Thanks for coming on.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate it. Hey, don't pet that rattlesnake, Bubba.
And as a special thanks to our loyal listeners, we're giving $10 off your next purchase of $60 or more at BruntWorkwear.com. Use discount code BucketTalk10. That's BucketTalk10.